that has this brutal pull rate, I think you'd be hard pressed to find one that's worse than this. It's been an absolute dumpster fire. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought we could do a different style of video. Over on my Instagram, I asked for you to submit your questions to me that I would answer on this video. So let's do a bit of a get to know me and let's dive into the questions. At first, what is the worst set of the Scarlet and Violet era and why is it prismatic? I cannot disagree with this. I think a set that has been hyped up to this extent, that has been this difficult to get product of, that has this brutal pull rate, I think you'd be hard pressed to find one that's worse than this. It's been an absolute dumpster fire. I mean, I know people weren't the biggest fan of Shrouded Fable. I quite enjoyed it. I know that Stellar Crown is quite a small set that people weren't massive on, especially with like the top chase being the Terapagos, which is not a fan favorite Pokemon. I think, yeah, for me, it has to be Prismatic Evolution. If you could have any Pokemon as a pet, which would it be and why? For me, it'd have to be either Bidoof or Lechonk. I think those are two of the most adorable Pokemon going. I have a lot of love for Bidoof, especially having him being the HM slave early on in the games. I just think he's a fantastic Pokemon that's easy to overlook, and I think he'd make a fantastic pet. Oh, this is an interesting one. I've been quite lucky to have seen some amazing places throughout the world. I went to South Africa when I was younger, been to Spain, Italy, South Africa, France, United States, Canada. But I think for me, the dream destination is, with any Pokemon and anime fan, has to be Japan. I absolutely love everything about it, the culture, how like futuristic it is, the kind of products that they push, everything about it I think is just incredible, and it's something that I really, really want to experience in my lifetime. Not all questions are going to be Pokemon related. Favourite thing to cook has to be steak. I absolutely love steak. It's a staple for part of my strongman training, but anything meat related, so barbecue, steak, is my absolute go-to to cook. I could eat it 7 days a week and I'd never get bored of it. And I mean, I pretty much do as it is. Oh, this is an interesting one. My earliest memory of liking Pokemon would probably be playing Pokemon Yellow on the Game Boy Color. Having an older brother, it was a lot easier for me to get access to these games at a younger age, especially when he was done with them. So I'd say either playing Pokemon Yellow on the Game Boy or playing Pokemon Stadium on the N64. That was a game I played to absolute death. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I've completed all of like the gym challenges, played all the mini games, had like some crazy matchups. I just absolutely loved that game. I think that was the first foray into like 3D as well, which was really cool to see. I mean, there are some strange inclusions like the red-eyed Venusaur or Snorlax with his eyes open, but I think it's an incredible game, and it's one that when I get my hands on a Nintendo Switch 2, I will definitely be revisiting and playing again. No prizes for guessing who submitted this one. She is very unlucky and needs to get off the internet. This is a really nice one. I think the biggest piece of advice I could give to my younger self is just that life is far too short. Chase the things that you enjoy. Don't be ashamed of being yourself. Enjoy what you want to. Live the way that you want to. Don't let anyone else tell you it, because life is far too short and far too fragile to care and focus on what everybody else's opinion of you is. When you only get one shot at it, you don't want to be coming towards the end of it and then being like, I have so many regrets. There are so many things I wish I did, I said I did, places I wanted to visit. Do it all while you have the chance, because it's not a guarantee that you get another day tomorrow. So just live as much as you can now. This is a pretty cool one. So I actually have always loved Strongman. It was something growing up I'd always watch around Christmas time in the UK. That's when it tends to actually hit TV over here, despite being recorded in May. And I just always thought it was just incredible being able to see these people lifting cars, pulling trains, doing crazy things that was very much like a superhero kind of thing. And I have been going to the gym since I was sort of 16. I played rugby growing up, and then found that I really enjoyed the weightlifting side of things more than the actual just playing the sport. So I was always in the gym, always trying to lift heavier weights, because it was just a really nice outlet for me. It was a nice way of feeling like I was doing something productive, getting rid of any sort of frustrations that I had, having some like heavy metal playing, lifting heavy metal, just having sort of a really good time and a bit of me time that was just something that I could enjoy, that was personal to me, that nobody could take away from me. One day, funnily enough, I was just on Instagram, and someone that I wasn't actually friends with at the time put up a story asking if anyone would be interested in training strongman and sort of helping him as he trained for it. I just thought, you know what, I'll take a shot, I'll give it a go. And this is how I met my good buddy Sam, and this is how I got into strongman, actually training it properly. I was always quite lucky to be fairly strong anyway, but then getting into this and actually trying the sport out itself, so specific lifts, playing with new bits of equipment, and just sort of really pushing myself to see what I was capable of. And I always had that goal of, I want to be able to lift a car, as it's just something to me that I just thought was absolutely insane to be able to even dream of, but then actually working to make that a reality. And I'm very happy to say that I didn't just lift a car, I actually lifted a van for, I think it was 7 or 8 reps, which I'll put up here, which I can't believe that's something that I can say that I've done, especially as someone that actually had to have emergency spinal surgery when I was a bit younger following being involved in a car crash. So being able to see what my body can do despite everything it's been through is just one of the most incredible experiences, and something that I am immensely proud of. Oh, this is a very fun one. So I'm going to omit any legendaries because that would be far too easy to get into, but starting off strong would have to be my favourite Pokemon, so I'd go for Gengar. I think having that dark psychic ghost type is just an absolute staple, and he's my favourite Pokemon, so he couldn't not be on the team. Secondly to that, I would have Machamp. He is the OG fighting type, one of my favourites, as being a big wrestling fan. I sort of feel like he has to be on every team that I have. Whether you think fighting type are overrated, you think there are better types, I just love the overall look of this Pokemon. I mean, in a world where you have fire-breathing dragons, you have like Pokemon that can jet water out, you have ghost type, I really appreciate the simplicity of, this is a big muscular Pokemon that will just punch your Pokemon. So for me, Machamp is always an inclusion. Up next, I couldn't not include Gyarados. I think incredible Pokemon, having water and dragon type gives you a lot of flexibility in the moves that you have, really bolsters up that team. And I think as well, just an iconic Pokemon that, coming from Magikarp, I think is just such a cool like evolutionary journey of that Pokemon itself. For my fire type, I'd probably go for Blaziken. Try and build like a nice all-round team. Having the firefighting type as well, a lot of speed, good sort of type advantages throughout the entirety of the team. I think it's just a great Pokemon, has the ability to like VMAX as well. So I feel like this is a good sort of staple to have on the team. I then also include Nidoking, another one of my favourites, having the dark poison type here. Again, bulky, strong, different type advantages, and I'm a massive fan of like kaiju Pokemon. I have a big Godzilla tattoo on my leg, which I'll put up here. I just love the Pokemon, love the design, everything about it. A lot of Kanto Pokemon in this, but ultimately, like, it's the gen I grew up with, and Nidoking is one of my absolute favourites, so I'd have to include him in my team. And then for my sort of electric type to sort of really round off the typing, I'd go for Toxtricity. I think he's an incredible Pokemon. Love the overall design, the moveset, and I think this will be a great addition to the team. One that I think has obviously a lot of weaknesses, but having that type variety gives me the best opportunity for sort of mismatches and the opportunity to have a type advantage as well. Plus, it's just Pokemon that I really enjoy, whether it's a good squad or not. It's one that I definitely would happily take into battle. Favourite anime, this is an easy one. It is Dragon Ball Z. I have absolutely loved Dragon Ball Z my entire life. It was one of the first animes that I ever watched. I remember seeing it on like Boomerang, Toonami back in the day, and going absolutely crazy the first time I saw Goku go Super Saiyan. One of the most iconic animes of all time. It's one I actually have quite a lot of different collectibles of as well. I've recently started getting into the Dragon Ball Super card game, very passively, but Broly's my favourite character, so I'm working my way through collecting all of his cards. I have also got all of the manga for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I will pick up Dragon Ball Super when it's sort of finished and I can buy like a big collection box of it, as it's just nicer for storage. I also have this Ultra Instinct Goku signed by Sean Schemmel, the voice actor of Goku. This is an absolute grail in my collection, and it's something that I can't believe I get to say that I actually own. Not to get too deep, but I sort of feel like all of the lessons in Dragon Ball Z are ones that we could really take into life in general, and the fact that, you know, train hard, work for everything that you have, be a good person, like kindness, compassion, doing things for other people. Everything about it is just be a better person, and I feel like Goku is the ultimate role model for that. And ultimately, Dragon Ball Z is just one of the greatest things to ever be produced. No prizes for guessing who this is from, so any other interests: wrestling, sports, games, and kissing mush. That is Pokemush, the mush that loves the mons, and given half a chance, I would love to kiss that man. But aside from that, my other interest, I absolutely love wrestling. Again, been a fan since I was a child. I have a vast collection of replica title belts. I love collecting, as you can tell. But I've been to a lot of WWE events, been to a lot of AEW events, and also a lot of independent wrestling. It's something that I wanted to do growing up as well, but unfortunately, because of having like the spinal surgery, it's something that I've had to really put on hold. But it's just one of my first loves, and it's something that I could watch day in, day out, talk about day in, day out, and never get bored of. I'm also quite a big gamer, so I like a lot of the classic games like League of Legends. I used to play a lot of World of Warcraft, but then also I like playing the more modern things. I like God of War. I'm currently replaying The Last of Us. I often get every like WWE game when it comes out. In terms of other sports as well, I used to play a lot of basketball growing up, played a lot of rugby. I'm quite a tall guy, so it's like it always lends to these sorts of sports. But weightlifting is like my favourite sport, if you fully class it as that. And obviously, I absolutely love strongman. And again, it's something that I can't believe I get to say that I do. So yeah, I feel like I have quite a lot of hobbies, and it ranges from really sort of like nerdy side of gaming right up to lifting heavy weights and being a bit of a, a bit of a freak, really. This was a very good question. It's one that I actually had to rack my brain around for quite a while to sort of come to a decision. I absolutely love the Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge set. Um, I think that the partner Pokemon is something that is like incredible. It was revolutionary at the time. The artworks as well, from the likes of Erica's Venusaur to Sabrina's Gengar to Blaine's Charizard. I think that you're hard pressed to find like a bad artwork in that set. I also feel like the nostalgia of the set, the vintage charm, and like the hollows when that was like the big thing that we were all chasing. I really like almost the simplicity of it, but also just the overall time as well that was around. So like Pokemon were like booming, but it was also like readily available. You had that joy of like collecting it as a kid. I just feel like it was an incredible set, especially that whole just era in general, from like base set, the Neo, even up to like E series. I just feel like that period of Pokemon was fantastic for not only like the cards and the artwork, but also just the general environment of Pokemon at the time as well. Which is a strange thing to say, as like a lot of the full arts and illustration and secret illustration rares that we're getting now are some of the most beautiful and incredible artworks and designs we've ever seen on Pokemon cards. It just doesn't quite have that same like satisfying feeling. I mean, with Scarlet and Violet getting like guaranteed hollows in every pack, whereas back in the day that was the big chase, I sort of feel like it's almost minimized the impact that these artworks have, or like the joy that you get from having a hollow, because it's a guarantee now, is very much like easy to skip past because you're looking for that illustration rare. I feel like Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge, and any of the Neo series are just unbelievable sets. This is one that will change dependent on the weather, my mood, the day, but to try my best in no particular order, I'd say Alexis on Fire, The Amity Affliction, Luke Combs, Bring Me the Horizon, Owl City. What's your pet hate in the Pokemon community? I mean, scalping, for one. There's a huge difference between if you're someone that buys product and keeps it sealed for 5, 10, 15 years and then resell it, to then going out and buying all of the stock of something just to immediately sell it for more. I think a recent example of this is the Prismatic Super Premium collection. I have seen so many eBay, Facebook Marketplace listings where the person hasn't even left the car park. They've gone to Smith's Toys or wherever it is that they've gone, and they are posting a picture of it on their passenger seat for twice the price that they've just paid for it. I think scalping is the biggest thing that's ruining the hobby at the moment. It's my biggest pet peeve by a long way, because these aren't people that are actually fans of Pokemon. They're not collectors. They're just people looking to get a quick buck wherever they can. I mean, it's the people that have done it with like trainers, buying out all of the lottery drops just to flip it for twice the price. All these people that collect like Supreme, all these big clothing brands, like the new thing with like Labubus. I just sort of feel like people aren't doing it because they love it. They love the money that they can get from it. And it's just one of the biggest hatreds I have at the moment, is just people rushing in, buying all the stock of something to immediately flip it. And then when the Pokemon craze dies down, they'll just move on to the next thing. This is a cool one. So currently I have 29 slabs. I've got them from a variety of grading companies. The majority are done by Ace Grading, UK-based company, big fan of. I also have a few from PSA and Beckett. I think my favourite one in my collection is the Gengar VMAX alternate art from Fusion Strike. So although this is a 9, which some people might actually be unhappy about, this is a card that I pulled myself from a random hidden potential tin that I bought from Asda. And the reason that it scored a 9 is because of the centering on the back of the card. It's quite hard to show on camera, but it's actually printed ever so slightly wonky, which to me makes it a very unique card, one that I pulled myself, graded myself, and also is going to be so unique to me because it's not a sort of flawless card and it's not printed in the same way that others are. And given the kind of Pokemon that Gengar is, I feel like that is just a fantastic thing to be able to say. And again, the fact that I pulled it myself is just unbelievable. This was a really good one. I think for me at the moment, it's probably Pokemon Legends Arceus. I've played and completed that game in its entirety maybe 4 or 5 times now. I'm also working my way through the 6th. I think it's fantastic. I love the way that they reimagined Pokemon, as often like the games have been incredibly formulaic. Obviously they've changed the story, but the core mechanics have always been the same. But I really like the whole sort of RPG element to it. So like actually crafting supplies, being able to go out into the wild. And one of my favorite things is actually encountering wild Pokemon in a more realistic way. So not just running through like tall grass and getting surprised by a random Rattata, but actually being able to see the scale of Pokemon in person, see which ones you wanted to go for, having that really like enjoyable element of like shiny hunting, particularly where there are like Pokemon outbreaks. I just feel like it was an incredible game that really revitalized the series, gave us something different. And because of it, I'm really looking forward to Legends ZA, as they are changing the gameplay once again. So I feel like that's a game I could play again and again and again and not get tired of, especially by doing different sort of Pokemon in my team. Maybe doing like an alpha Pokemon run, having a run of just like legendaries later on in the game, or like pseudo legendaries, or even having like starters, and just, you know, really mixing up the way that I play it, the way that I go about it, the way I craft my team. And ultimately, I feel like it's a game that is absolutely revolutionary in Pokemon. I also want to give a special shout out to Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. I know that these are games that it's kind of love-hate, but I feel like the changes that they made in gameplay, how much repeatability there is, they're games that I could also play indefinitely. But if we're also going down the route of a bit of nostalgia for me, it would have to be Pokemon Yellow or Pokemon Stadium. I'll send you the money, I owe you later. And that does it for this episode. If you have any questions that you wish you had the answer to, please drop them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. But for now, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Pokestrongman out.